Kutztown Live. KUR's Campus and Community Interest Radio Magazine.
And good afternoon. Welcome to Kutztown Live here on the radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR. I'm your host, Mike Regensburger, and we have actually a full show for you today, jam-packed for an entire hour, care of our first guests. And our first guest is actually our guest host every 2 weeks, Lori from the Northeast Berks Chamber of Commerce, and her special guest of the week, where she highlights a different local business owner, member of the chamber, every couple of weeks here on the show. So welcome, Lori, to Kutztown Live.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you so much for having us every other week. We really enjoy this partnership that we've established over the last 2 years, and it's a great way to showcase the chamber activities and also introduce our members to the listening audience.
Okay, so what do you have for us this week?
With me now is Abigail Mirarchi, and she is the owner and president of Accelerated Instructional Media in Leesport. She's a new member. She joined the Northeast Berks Chamber in early October, on October 2nd. And she's also an alum of Kutztown University. Welcome, Abigail.
Well, thank you, Lori, and thank you, Mike, for having me. Berks County and our Kutztown alum.
Yes, so we're very interested in learning more about what you do at Accelerated Instructional Media. I was reading your website today. And why don't you tell us a little bit about your career, your background, and how you became inspired to start this business?
Okay, thank you. One of the biggest factors of where I am today is about continual growth, lifelong learning. And I was the creative domain of everything that I ever did. So graphic design was my first career. And I wanted to continue to be top of the game, first to call for graphic design. So I actually went back to school. And I didn't want a degree. I already had an undergraduate degree. I just wanted to go to one of the schools, get some career education, coding. HTML coding was very fresh. Dreamweaver wasn't quite there yet. Excelled there, became not only a faculty member, a department chair. So going from graphic design and finding the passion of how others can learn, how they can be learning in a fun way, and then also bringing in the community, is some of these two-year schools have a hard time competing against the four-year schools. So giving these students an opportunity, we reached out to the community for projects that they would normally use in-house. And we brought them into the school, and at the college level, the students were able to compete against each other with information that they were learning in class, and that's when I would never say 30 years ago I'd be in training, but I absolutely loved it. So then there was the merge of instructional design with my degree from Lehigh University. As my degree progressed, project management, and then an owner. So I had quite a few different roles, so I've been able to learn over my course of my career.
Now, you mentioned you were a student here. We mentioned that. Were you involved in the 24-hour design-a-thon by any chance? Was that happening when you were a student here?
If it did, I don't recall.
Okay. I just wondered because the Chamber has partnered with the students in KU's 24-hour design-a-thon for some wonderful projects.
I bet.
And so that's very interesting. So you started this business, this woman-owned business, in 2006. And you're not a Berks County native, is that correct?
I am not. I'm originally from Lehigh Valley, Allentown.
But your husband is? Is he a Berks County native?
No.
Okay. All right. So what brought you to Berks County when you started this business?
What is not? This sounds like a bunch of baloney, but what is not to like about Berks County? These back roads, you have farmland, you have the city right there. A sneeze away is Philadelphia. A sneeze away is New York. You've got beautiful, beautiful people, the food. I mean, there's what's not to love?
Right, exactly.
You've got everything that you could possibly want.
And you're in Leesport, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what's a typical day like for you in your business?
It can start from facilitating early morning classes for possibly our UK audience. Soft skills, we call them life essential skills. And that's everything from career development to understanding how to set a goal, how to achieve that. Facilitation skills. If you're hosting a meeting, maybe you're be put into, I want to call an accidental project manager role. You'll need some of those skills. So it starts off in the morning. We in our office in Leesport, we have a media center room, which we do a lot of live streaming, and also a green screen, which we do recordings as well, because some of the organizations that we work with, the executives come in. We have them, they do orientation, onboarding, welcome. But since we are global, we're here, we reside local, but we're a global organization, we're able to put their backdrops of their different offices. So it really connects and resonates with the people that they're trying to get their message across to. We put those in e-learnings or in communications within organizations as well.
Now, I know from looking at your website that you deliver 3 types of services, and you've just referenced 2 of those, curriculum design and facilitation. What type of consultation do you do? That would be the third service.
Yeah, the third service, that is where we actually build this relationship with an individual. 90% of our referrals, our business is based out of referrals. And we become an extension of the team, whether we're supporting a VP of training, maybe a PM of a specific, whether it's sales, we would be supporting a managers. We could be doing the graphic design. We could be doing the instructional design. We could actually be mentoring and also guiding some of the management on building some of those, quote, life essential skills. So they're better managers when they manage too.
Right. So, of course, you already have a global clientele. And now that you've joined this regional chamber, who would be a typical client for you? Who would you like to partner with, or who do you see as a client in our area?
Yeah, and that's a good question. When I've talked to and I've been, exposing myself out more locally, is I'm here. I have a lot to offer. And a lot of people are like, I only have 2 employees. Well, if you have employees, you're looking at standard operating procedures to become more effective and efficient. You don't want those turnover. You want to continue to grow them because they are the future of the organization. Customer service has gone down over the years. Those traditional things that actually made businesses and people want to go to them. It could be 2, it could be 20. Traditionally, we're working about 200 to anywhere from 5,000 employees, depending on whether they're employees or frontline managers. But realistically, you're always looking to develop and people to grow. They need to refresh. And technology change. I'm learning that on a daily basis. I'm leaving my comfort zone regularly. What I see in the history of some of the challenges are people lack some of the confidence or the ability to have a safe environment to learn, to try things out, to partner with other people, different perspectives, and diversity. So even if you're small, there's a lot you can offer.
I think you made an important point, because we're operating a small office at the Chamber. I've worked in small offices over my career, 30 plus years, and I think it's even more critical when you have a small staff to have those operating procedures, and also to make sure that you do establish and maintain a good relationship with your employees. I mean, it's even more important. Because oftentimes when you're in a small office and you have 2 or 3 people, everything is really in their head unless you get it on paper. I mean, if they've been working in those jobs for years. And so the loss of an employee could be a disaster, if you don't have everything in place and the procedures. So how can a person get a hold of you? How can they best contact your business for information?
Well, the easiest website you could possibly remember is AIM, the number 2, train.com. Fastest way, we have my phone number is 610-730-7681. You can follow us, and I strongly encourage that to follow us on Accelerated Instructional Media on Facebook and LinkedIn. And you can also subscribe to our newsletter that's on our contact page. We've taken it a step further. People are busy. We take calls at 6:30 at night. We take calls at 6 o'clock in the morning. There's a scheduler online where they can actually book time for a training, for a mentor, for a consultation. We will either come out on location or we will do it virtually. Camera is not required if we do it virtually.
Well, I think that's great to be flexible, because we know the lives that people lead with kids and their jobs and so forth. So you need that flexibility built in. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about your business before we close today?
I would love to say, just first of all, thank you. What we do, learning starts with the first conversation. We trademarked that quite a few years ago, and we really believe that. It was a long process just to get a trademark, but it is something that we value, and we are building relationship, brand awareness. But the biggest thing that you want to take away from this conversation is, don't believe me. Look at the recommendations that have been provided on LinkedIn under Abigail Mirarchi, and it will really give you a good sense of the partnership, the relationship, the accountability, and always there to be helpful. And we specialize in designing curriculum that provides exposure to real-world situations, tools, and resources that will help the workforce make informed decisions.
All right. Thank you so much, Abigail. We look forward to getting to know you better.
Thank you, Lori.
And thank you very much, Abigail and Lori. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, Lori.
All right. We'll be back, Mike. Thank you.
All right.
Kutztown Live. KUR's Campus and Community Interest Radio Magazine.